hear whispering.
I do too.
It's Diane. I'm trying to get my headphones in so I'm not disturbing my husband. Just give me a second, please. Thank you very much.
I'll let the others get a word in edgewise this time. I felt like I kind of monopolized things last time, so I'll save my questions.
I will get to them
Laura
all.
Lee, I don't really have any questions. I went through everything, so I think I'm going to sign off because I'm good with everything. I went through all the material, and I really, really appreciate it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, Laura Lee, Jim White here. I've got a question. You recommend people start in with the base camp or with the navigator?
I think, at least for what I experienced, it was easier to start in with base camp and have an idea of what that looked like, and then read the navigator and go, okay, so that's what you're talking about. Because I think some of the things would be confusing without looking at base camp at least once. And then you can go back and read it and say, so this is what everything is talking about. Like when it talks about going through the tour and what Pathways is like and choosing your curriculum, it kind of makes it easier once you've actually looked at it first.
Okay, good. And at what point then do we look at the navigator?
I would look at the navigator like after you go through base camp and you go through the tour, and then if that is making a little bit of sense to you, then I would go back and read the navigator and see if that helps clarify anything.
Okay.
So is the navigator, it's been a while. I remember when I first logged on, I tried to do things through the navigator, and last time you set me straight, it's like, oh, well, when you want to see these things, go to Basecamp. Is the purpose of the navigator just to help people know how to use Pathways, or is it something else? What's the purpose of the navigator, I guess?
The purpose of the navigator is, so you remember in the Competent Communicator how it had those first introduction pieces? It incorporates those, and it talks about Basecamp and Pathways itself. So it talks about the club structure, it talks about the officers, and then it goes on and talks about Pathways itself.
Okay.
And I'm going to share my screen.
Well, one other question I had along those lines is, I know in the, like with the way the Competent Leader Manual was laid out in the past, it was pretty clear that at some point, in order to be X, Y, or Z, you would need to be a club officer or a district officer. Is that, I haven't read through all the kind of the summary information. Does it make it clear like what in certain levels are those things that are going to be required to complete that level? Or I'm just kind of curious how it fits in, because we still want people to do those things.
Yes. So I actually believe I have something for you for that exact question.
Okay.
I think this is it.
Here it is.
Okay, so that one. Any service you've completed. That can go there. Okay, so that's not the one.
Yeah, I'm just not sure where it fits. Like, is it typically a certain level in each of the paths? Is it only part of some of the paths? Is it part of all of the paths? There you go.
DTM. That's how to get your DTM now and DTM for Pathways.
Okay.
It's the 2 paths: club officer for 12 months, club mentor, coach, club sponsor, or completing the youth leadership program or what have you.
Okay, so
then
that's
district
July
office.
15. Okay, so it sounds like I should just look through the blog and I'll learn a lot.
I can send you this link if you would like me to.
Sure. Okay, back to Jim.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to see. Yeah, you sent me some earlier things off your blog, and the blog is very impressive, I must say.
Mhm.
It's really great.
It is.
Yeah.
It's got a lot of stuff in there.
It's really super. Yeah, if you could send me a link to this material you're showing, that'd be super.
Yep, I can do that. And actually, let me go back to my blog and I will show you a few things that I've added. Here, I have added information about, I did the virtual support session. This one is also being recorded. And I will post it up here so you can listen again. And then I also posted information about returning members to Pathways. I sent you this in an email.
Yeah, I saw that. Good
And
news.
Right.
that for members who have been a member and aren't currently, they can come back and work on either program.
Can they still, do they have, they still have the flexibility of working on
Yes.
both programs?
Yes, they do.
That's cool.
They can work on Pathways or on the current program or both during the 2-year transition period. Well, until the 2-year transition period. And then with everyone else, they'll have to transition over.
Right. Yep.
But they're not like the new members who are required to start in Pathways.
Yeah. You know, one of the things, and one of the things is I want to encourage even the members that are still considering working the old, or I call it the traditional way,
Yes.
to get logged on, make sure they can log on, perhaps choose a path. I mean, they don't have to complete it right away, but I'd love for them to encourage them to at least do that. They still have the flexibility, but then they're going to have a little bit better idea as new members come in and they need some mentorship. You'll be able to help them.
Exactly. And this is another one that I wanted to point out. I have the path, like effective coaching here, that I have written out a lot of the things that are relevant to it.
Awesome.
So this one specifically requires a high performance leadership project, but you will see not all of them do.
Okay.
So that is something that's different. Not all of them do. All of them have that option extended to them in the elective projects, but some of them are required to do different things.
So I hope what you're doing is what you're doing now is your high performance leadership project, right?
This one is an example, actually, of one that does not require a high performance leadership project, which is dynamic leadership, and they are required instead to basically do a high performance leadership project, which is called Lead in Any Situation. And they are focusing on leading a group to do something specifically.
Cool. So. Awesome.
Does everybody start at level 1?
Yes. Everyone will start at level 1.
And that's without regard to their what they've done in the past, right?
Yes, and in fact, even after you've completed your first path in Pathways, you will still go back and do level 1 for your second path. And their idea for that is instead of doing the icebreaker for like, hi, I'm brand new, it would be instead going and saying, I am doing this specific path because I want to work on X, Y, or Z. I want to work on this project in my business, or I want to complete this idea or run this organization or what have you. So that's what their idea is for the paths themselves, even if we aren't new members.
And people are expected to choose 2 paths, is that right?
Yes, it would be 2 paths to get your DTM. So that is the expectation, is you'll go through 2 of them. You can do as many as you want, but it takes 2 paths to get your DTM, and that's 5 different manuals that you're going through for each path.
I have a question.
Go
on, Jim. You're on a roll.
Again, on the manuals, refresh me on that. I didn't take very good notes last time. Do we order manuals for each person based on their preference, or how do we do that?
So once you have selected your path, then you can either choose to do it in print, which then you would get your manuals. It would be 5 of them. The first manual would be Mastering Fundamentals, like you see here, and it would be those 3 projects. And then the second one would be Learning Your Style, and you would go into those projects. And then for the third level, you would get this in your manual. And that is a separate manual from Building Your Skills, and a separate manual from Demonstrating Expertise, which is level 5. And you'll get those staggered.
Now, are these manuals online, or do we get a printed manual?
If you decide to
Sorry, I didn't
go and print, yes, you get a printed manual. If you decide to just do it online, then you do not get the physical manual.
So one of the questions I have about this process is, say, one of the members, maybe someone who's been a member for a while, decides, yes, they want to start with Pathways, but they're going to request a printed copy. Will it then prompt them to pay, with their,
Yes.
Okay. So it won't be, we won't be ordering. Yeah, we won't be ordering it for them. They'll be ordering it themselves.
Yes. It will be the first thing that they decide. And actually, let me go to Toastmasters. And to get to Pathways, you go from Education to the Pathways. And then Infantry. And if I was choosing a path, I would say, if I'm doing it for myself, this is the first thing it asks. Is which one. If you wanted printed, you would select that, and then it would show you which ones you can choose from.
Ooh, I have another question. So if at the time Pathways rolled out, I was a dual member. So supposedly I get 2 paths. Well, my question is, would I be able to pursue one through Basecamp and one through printed, or not?
You can. You would have to pay the $25 fee, but yes, you can.
And then I haven't tried to do it yet, but so if I want to select the second path, I'm not sure I know how to do it. I mean, because I have continue on my path, but.
So if you were going to do it through Basecamp itself, you would say, you would select Basecamp, you would take, I believe you would take the assessment a second time and then choose your second path. I am not completely certain on that one, but I believe so.
Right. And then if somebody, again, if they're an existing member and they are part of 2 clubs, we have a fellow in our club that's been a member since probably 1969. If he wanted to get printed copies, would it cost him $25 each or $45? Because he's not a new member.
So it would cost him $25 for all 5.
Right. Okay. Got it.
So it would be $5 a manual.
Oh, I see. I see how it works. Okay.
Yeah. Instead of the $6 that we paid before, it's $5 a manual. Yes.
Jim?
And how do we order the manuals?
So if you go to path selection,
Mm-hmm.
and then you say printed, you'd select printed,
Mm-hmm.
and then you have, oh, okay. Well, you have these to choose from. I've never done this before.
You have 2, or there should be 5 different ones, aren't there?
Strategic leadership, team collaboration, presentation mastery, leadership development, and dynamic leadership. And so then you would choose whichever one you want from those, and then you would order them after you choose the path.
Interesting.
Are they to be ordered by one of the club officers, or does the member order them himself or herself?
The member would do.
Sorry?
They have
The member orders it.
Yes.
And 5 manuals would be the equivalent of 5 different pathways.
No, it's one path.
5 levels.
Yeah, but it's the 5 levels, and you get 5 manuals for that.
I'm sorry, I didn't quite understand.
So, if I chose the team collaboration, I would get level 1, and then I wouldn't have to pay for 2, 3, 4, or 5 because I've already paid for that with the $25.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And would they get all 5 manuals at the same time?
No, actually, they will not. They actually will get the first one, and then when their VPE says they have completed that first section, then they would get level 2. I believe they get level 2 and 3, and then 4 and 5.
So in other words, is it kind of more dependent on when they complete a level than the next portion is shipped kind of thing?
Yes.
So they would send a check for $25 to get the first manual.
Yeah, and then they
upon
would
completion, they're entitled to more manuals.
Yes. Yes, and they get
Okay.
all of them without having to pay anything else.
Right. So they
All
don't
right.
have to buy any advanced manuals. It's all part of the package eventually.
Okay. Farley, how about in your email you said one of the items is how your members will submit projects. Could you address that?
Yes, I can. So first I'm going to go to Pathways and just briefly look at the Navigator because I had some questions about the Navigator. And this is in the kits that I gave you. You have a printed version of this exact manual. And you can request a printed copy from Toastmasters International. And as you go through, it talks about several different things about Toastmasters itself. And actually, I'm just going to go to the menu. And it talks from everything from meeting structure. So this is all the stuff that
I'm still seeing just Toastmasters Pathways Learning Experience.
All right.
So
share
I wasn't seeing a drop down. Was I supposed to be seeing a drop down? Oh, there we go.
There we go.
I see it now.
So this first section is mostly for the new members. It's not going to tell you guys anything that you don't specifically know because you are in the leadership positions that it's talking about. And then it talks about Pathways specifically, which works with what is it, and then the printed and the levels and what that means. and the projects. So this is what will be the most helpful for you and what I would suggest that you look at, because it's the things that you don't necessarily know or you may be confused about. And then this the last thing is the frequently asked questions, and my blog will get you concise answers to what you may be wondering about.
Mm-hmm.
So I would suggest to look at those.
All right, and then the Navigator PDF, is that just the printed material for the Navigator? Is that what that is?
Yeah, that's just one without the arrows sideways. And it would just read like normal. That's the only difference there. Yes, I know, I stopped sharing.
No, that's fine, that's fine. So if you only had 5 to 7 minutes to talk to members about Pathways, what would be the 3 main points you would cover? I think I know the answer, but I'm curious what you would say.
I would cover how to get to Pathways, for one. That would be the first thing I would cover. In fact, I'm actually going to be doing that soon here.
Yep.
And then I would be talking to them about this right here, the educational part and how this works. And then I would talk to them about, I would kind of go through just the main questions that I've got, and I would want to make it an interactive experience, because me just talking to you is not necessarily going to answer all of your questions.
Right. It's got to be visual. Yeah.
And I'm going to actually, so I recently did table topics, so I'm going to mark that. What?
Oh, yeah, so where's that other place where you see this, is it in your base camp somewhere where if you did a roll, you can mark it?
Yes, and that is right here. Oh, I don't remember what it's ending as. Right here.
Okay. It's the gear. It's the little gear.
Yes. And you actually can see it in your universal profile as well.
Oh, okay.
Put it down. But this is all nice and messy for you. So let me go back and go back and go back.
Okay, that answered my question.
All right.
I've just been trying to figure out how to boil the ocean, you know.
Yep.
I need to do a visual aid speech to finish my another competent communicator, and I thought Pathways would be perfect for that. So.
So for Jim, I just had marked my. Wait 1 second. So I marked the active listening complete. So it's going to be sitting in this mess right here. And it's going to say completed. And then my VPE would need to go in. They should have received an email now saying that I completed a task. And that they need to go in and look at it. And I believe I should also get an email saying.
Tell me again how you get to this screen.
So after you go to the Pathways screen, then you go from home. And you go to education transcript. And it will take you.
That's yeah.
You go into Basecamp, right?
Yes. This is from Basecamp. And then the other way is after, when I went to my profile, the little person up here. That's this screen. and you can hit transcript, and it will take you here.
Got it. Now, is this probably a dumb question, but does this reflect a particular path at this point?
That messy screen does not. This does. This is what your guys's will normally look like. Is you open up your education transcript and you could go, you hit open curriculum, and this is what it will look like. And this has, like mine, I've already done my icebreaker as well as my evaluation and feedback one, and now I'm going to be doing my research and presenting one so that I can finish my level 1. And this is for innovative planning.
That's your path, right?
That is my path, yes. So yours won't specifically look like this because yours is innovative planning, but if you did decide to choose that path, that is what this will look like. And this is the normal setup. Icebreaker will always be there as the first thing that you do. And if I'm not mistaken, the evaluation and feedback is also going to be, yeah. So this one for dynamic leadership will look exactly like this, except for we'll say dynamic leadership on top. Because it has the icebreaker, evaluation, and researching and presenting. Because that's their version of the competent communicator smushed down to 3. You look like I lost you.
Oh no, I'm just trying to, so when I launch the icebreaker, it tells me, I get a screen that says, you and your goals, view icebreaker speech, outline worksheet, download icebreaker speech, outline worksheet. But where do I mark it? Like if I completed it, how do I mark it complete?
So that means you've launched it, but you haven't finished it yet. You can't mark it complete until you've given your speech and then you have done the assessment afterwards to say, I feel better about speaking now, and I feel like I made eye contact, or whatever their questions are.
Right. So what I'm saying is, so then would I view training details? No, that doesn't do it. So what I'm saying is like if I had given the icebreaker, I launched the content, like on the little, but it just it seems like it sort of takes me around in a circle. Takes me to some materials I've already printed out.
But so if you hit the next arrow, it will take you to the assessment, or I believe it will. Okay. So let me launch mine and I can show you what.
I probably have it open somewhere and just can't see it. There it is. Right, so I don't see an arrow. I see things like view icebreaker outline. Okay.
A question about icebreakers are members who have already done their icebreaker at some point, would they be doing a new icebreaker under Pathways?
They do not have to. The first,
but they still have to mark it complete now, right?
Yeah, their first icebreaker, they can just say, I don't want to do my first icebreaker. So this is the screen that you...
Yes, right. Yep.
And then you're going and looking at this one.
Right.
So this is what you're seeing, right?
Not quite. Sort of, but except there are no arrows. I don't see arrows.
Okay. So is it small? Is it a mini window?
Let's see. Launch. Okay. Yeah. Oh, there it is. Got it. Oh.
Yeah, usually if you blow it up, you can see
it. And everything looks good. Okay. Oh, look at that. Where's next?
So then you have assess your skills. And once you do that, then you can submit it. Okay. So if you did not want to give the icebreaker the first time, you have two options. One is you can fill out the form that I had sent to all the clubs, and you can send it in so that people can get credit for their icebreaker, or, and, you know, have it get lost. Or you can have an agreement with your club and say, we know that they accept the icebreaker that we've already done if we've already completed our CC or whatever. Or if I'm a new member and I just gave it like a month ago.
Right, exactly.
So we are going to decide that we're all going to submit our icebreakers to our VPE, who's going to approve it. And not have to go through Toastmasters International and just go through. You have to take your first assessment, you have to read through everything, and then take your second assessment and submit it.
Okay.
The
Now,
second
here's
one
a
is
question I have. If I am the VP of E, like, so for instance, today I don't approve my own things. I think how we have it set up for our club is I think we use the club officer email. So in theory, any club officer could do it, but I'm just wondering, somehow I should ask somebody else to approve mine. Shouldn't be.
And they're expecting that the secretary or the president are going to approve of the projects that the VPE does.
Got it.
So
yeah, I'm curious.
They should log in as the Basecamp manager and be able to approve that.
Okay.
Any of you three can approve that.
Yeah. And okay, fabulous. Thank you for going through that. So that was the problem. I didn't have my screen expanded. When
it's all nice and shrunk, you can't see it very well.
Got it.
Actually, well, you can't see it at all.
Okay. Fabulous.
All right. Let me go and see. Are there any questions about this path specifically, or how I got to here, or anything like that?
Just as a point of curiosity now, Laura Lee, have you gotten your first manual for your path?
I did not, because I chose to do mine online.
Right. So it's all online.
And that's through the Basecamp.
Yes.
Okay. And do you think most people will be doing that?
Most people have been doing the online version. I don't remember the specific percentage, but it was a very high percentage that was doing online only.
Okay. Okay.
It's the recommended way, right?
Yeah. Just because you can have the videos, you can have the more information, and you can still print it.
Yeah.
Granted, you'd have to use your own printer, but.
Right.
Oh, you can print the manual yourself.
Yes, you can.
Well, you can print what you can see so far.
Yeah, which is exactly how it would be if you had done it on the printed manuals anyway, because you don't have all of the information. But here, let me change my share. It's a miracle. It actually worked. So this is the first project right here.
Yeah.
And you can print the entire thing if you so desire. I do not recommend printing 23 pages of this.
It's pretty much this, is the icebreaker pretty much the same regardless of path?
Yes.
Yeah.
It is exactly the same, actually.
Yeah.
Regardless.
So I printed some of these out to have at the club, or I don't know, not the whole 23 pages, but the evaluations. For sure.
I understand. Let me actually show you something that I found that I was super excited to find.
Oh,
That I suggest all of my clubs print. And that would be not here. Why is it not here? Is this all completed? No, that's not good. And here I was, all excited. Okay. Let me go to resources, because I found a generic version of the evaluation form, which I was super excited about.
For Icebreaker or just in general?
General. It's general, everything. So if someone forgets to bring theirs, they can use this one.
They can still get evaluated.
Generic.
Evaluation resource.
Yes.
Yeah, I should go.
All right. And
Rails and resources.
so this is it. Can you see that at all? Or do you just see
Kinda. Yeah, I just need to move. Oh, I need to move the pictures of us over. Oh, there. Beautiful.
So this is the evaluation resource, general comments, and it's literally just for whatever. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So if someone forgets, they can use this one, and it's not for any specific group or speech, but they at least have something if they forgot it.
I'd like to print that. Now, how do I get to it again?
Well,
let's see.
I went to tutorials and resources, and then I went to evaluation resources. I believe this is the same for you guys as it is for me.
Oh, okay.
But
All right.
I can also send you that if you would like.
That'd be great.
Well, that would be very helpful.
As well.
All right, then I shall do that.
Tutorials and resources. I find sometimes if I've been one place, I do have a little difficulty getting another place, but it might just be my browser or something. What browser do you use?
Google.
Okay, that's what I use too.
All right, let me download this, and then I can send it to you.
Fabulous. Yeah, that'd be a good thing to have on hand.
And I shall send that.
Great.
All right, with that, I'm trying to find the thing I originally sent, and it's missing. It was on this ginormous chain, so I don't know why I can't find it. I mean, we only had like 19 emails with it.
Oh my gosh.
I'm serious.
Well, now, if the evaluator is going to have this in front of him or her on paper, right?
Yes.
And would fill it in.
Yes.
And then is it supposed to be entered into the system, or is it just the summary of what was done that's entered into the system?
For what goes into the system, so the member has the evaluation resource, and they can upload this very complicatedly up to Pathways, or they could just have the paper version, or the person, because it is fillable, so I could just type right into it.
So you meaning
whoever is evaluating
can
just type directly into this evaluation resource. And
But the speaker wants to have a copy of that, a paper
yes,
copy, doesn't he or her?
they can print this, and then they can handwrite in it. And if they wanted a copy and the person typed it, they can print it, or they can send it to them via email, and they can have their evaluation resource. And then if they want it on Toastmasters, good, they can go here.
Portfolio. Ooh.
And this has a place for documents, level 1, and you can add as many files as you so desire.
So it's just kind of a upload, add
Well,
file.
Yep.
Can
So
you
you can even
just refer to the? Can you just refer to the fact that an evaluation was made, or do you have to actually enter the full evaluation?
You do not have to enter the full evaluation. In fact,
Just
mark
make a
it
record
complete,
that
right?
was done.
yeah, so after you give your speech and you get your evaluation, that's all you need. The person who evaluated you does not need to do anything unless the speaker wants you to. And so if they hand you a paper copy, that's not a problem at all, because you don't need it to mark your project complete. So it can be marked complete without having anything uploaded. Does that
All right.
make sense?
That's not difficult.
Yeah, that made me feel better once I knew that. It's like, okay, they just, they probably, the person wants a copy of it so they have the written feedback, and then they just mark it complete.
Yep, exactly.
And does the VPE have to certify that somehow?
Yes, so the VPE has to go in and approve your project, and then it will say, yay, you have it. And let me go back to my innovative planning. In order for me to finish, even though this says it's completed, meaning my VPE has approved my icebreaker and my evaluation, once this research and presenting is approved, then they approve the whole project completion after I say mark complete. And then level 2 will open up for me.
Yep. I see.
Cool. Nice.
So with that, I'm going to actually go and look at the assessment just for a minute. And then any other questions that you guys have? Station, pathways.
Once it was going on, I was just trying to click on the red things where it was tutorials and resources, and nothing was happening. I had to click on the thing that comes up in the quote unquote drop down. All right. Very good.
So
I got it. I figured it out. I'm
okay.
slow, but I can learn.
Okay. So this answers your first question, Lisa. You can skip the assessment for your second one.
Oh.
You just have to click skip assessment.
Oh.
But for
I could probably do it again anyway, just to see what it recommended.
So then you would go and you would take your assessment. I'm not going to take it yet. But you would go through and you would answer those questions.
So how did you get to that? Oh, you click on which thing you select, whether it's Basecamp or like you pick on whether you want to select Basecamp or printed material, and then it will take you through the eval.
Yep.
Cool.
And for officers, one thing that
Mm-hmm.
I'd be interested in is that you can actually choose for another member,
Mm-hmm.
choose your path. And so that is only for printed though.
Okay.
And you can do that for whoever in your club.
Mm-hmm.
As you can see here, I can choose for a different
Right.
person in my club.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can choose their printed material. But that is not for base camp because they would have to take the assessment themselves.
So you say you can, and you would select their printed material. Why? So you could approve it, or what?
If someone couldn't come and order for themselves,
Oh,
you can go in and say, for so-and-so, I'm choosing their printed material.
Okay, so this might indirectly be a way that the prison clubs would be handled. They'd probably just have to do all printed, which would be kind of expensive, but because
they can't have internet access anyway.
Yeah, they don't have. Yeah, so but usually the prison clubs have kind of Toastmasters that are helping kind of lead the thing, or Toastmasters that are not prisoners that can print this stuff and that sort of thing. So that might
question. Question: the $45 dues that goes to international, and does that include the $20 for the base camp materials?
For your first path, yes. So for all of those people in the prison clubs, they would have only the $25 materials fee. They would not have $45 total. And then for the second
path,
it would be...
Didn't quite follow that. We got two different ways to go, the base camp or the printed materials. Now, if you elect the base camp as you have, Laura Lee, you get the first manual online. Is that the deal when you pay your dues?
For me, I chose the online version, and so I actually have all of them available to me. I just can't access what they specifically mean yet until I get to that level. So for my online version, as you can see, I have all 5 levels right here that I've already been given, and then I just can't access physically yet.
Yeah, until you complete.
But for the printed material, it would be the $20 that is covered, and then the $25 for having the 5 manuals, so $5 a manual.
Okay, so
what I'm hearing is there's really, if you go with the base camp, there's really no extra charge involved.
There is no extra cost, yes. Your first path is completely free.
Got it, okay.
Right.
And then your second path is $20.
And that's, again, through doing it online?
Yes.
All right.
And you can print all of your projects. All of them are able to be printed.
Okay. Vicki, are you still on?
I think she's muted. I did not.
But I'm not talking. Really? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh my word.
Oh, you're there.
Mute off, huh?
Right here learning everything.
Good. Good. Well, you've been very quiet.
Did you have any questions?
No, I don't have any. Thank you.
So I went over the navigator, the assessment, submitting projects. So I'm sorry I can't show you the other side of it because I am public relations officer and we do not have those privileges.
Mm.
And then the evaluation resource. And I got a list of questions from another club that might be something you guys were wondering. So if I chose innovative planning and I did not want innovative planning, I looked at it and I'm like, that is not for me. And then I can return it. Let me go and open another.
Yeah, well, you have 30 days, right?
Yes, I believe you do have exactly 30 days.
Mm-hmm.
So toastmasters.org.
I'm sorry, what's the 30 days for?
To return your manuals if you did not want that.
Oh. All right, thank you.
And let me double check that because I believe that is the answer to it. Return policy.
And how do we get to the Q&As, Laura Lee?
So after you went to education and then pathways.
Right.
And then I went to FAQs.
Oh, I didn't see that screen.
So this has all of the common questions that have been asked to them.
Could you back up and tell me once more how you get to this one?
Yep. Education.
Right.
And then pathways.
Right.
And then you scroll down to here, and you can see all these tabs. You click on FAQ.
Okay.
And then FAQ.
Right. Got it. Okay, good.
And then a second question was the current names of honor, your advanced communicator, bronze, or silver. Those will stay with you, but they have changed in the new system to be innovative planning level 1 and level 2. And whatever level is your highest will be the one behind your name. And if you are level 5 on both, I believe you just have both of them. So it would be innovative planning and dynamic leadership level 5, which is very lettery, but that's what I've decided. A whole bunch of alphabet soup. And they are still available, the medals, the awards for advanced communicator bronze. Those are all still available for the span of time until the full transfer over to pathways.
Well, it's probably kind of true of the manuals too, huh? They're still available until they're no longer relevant.
Yes.
Cool.
So those are those questions that I got from a different club. Are there any other questions before I tie this off and send you guys a bunch of emails?
Oh, this is great. Thank you so much. It's
very helpful.
This helps me get, I kind of feel like I gotta keep sort of repeating it over and over again. It's like, oh, okay, that's why that was like that. And just kind of to help alleviate frustrations people might have.
Will you be able to do another session like this, Laura Lee, before too long?
Yes, I can do that. And I can schedule one with you guys for whatever time is convenient. I've been trying to juggle when the most people are able to come. So.
Right. It's kind of hard. It's kind of a struggle, but it's. I think that as long as Vicki and I have a feel for it, then we can kind of help other people.
Mm-hmm.
But it will involve a bit of an investment of time.
Yes.
For example, I think these frequently asked questions I think are going to be very helpful, just for review of what we know, and then we can refer our members to those
Yes.
questions.
And I will just mention briefly the navigator at the very end. Once you have finished the navigator, actually has a link to this page. If you
Okay.
Yes, it does. It does. I've been there. That's probably how I got there before. Yeah.
So
Yeah, I don't necessarily, if you have other sessions, I'd love to know when they are. I think I have quite a bit of information to go on. So, but if you have other sessions, keep me apprised, and if I'm available, I'll probably tune in just to keep learning.
Yep.
Sure.
And if your club has any questions, if they run into any problems, I'm available through email. I check my email several times a day.
All right.
So one last question. Let me just clarify this. So because I belong to 2 clubs, so I can get 2 paths. So one of them I can do on Basecamp, and one of them I could get the printed material. And
if you wanted to do that, or you can have them both online.
It wouldn't mess up my Basecamp because it's just by the path.
Yeah, and you can have them both online, and then you would just have the 2 paths, one above the other, based on the alphabet, and you would click the curriculum for those 2, so they wouldn't merge. It wouldn't make everything messy. So they would be separate. So you could have them both online, or you could have one online and one in print if you wanted.
I don't think I really want a printed one, but I would love to see what it looks like, just so other people that think they might want that could have it and know what it was going to be. But it's tempting.
Laura Lee, I'll look forward to getting those emails from you.
I will make sure to send them afterwards. And I did send off a few emails to the Pathways because I had a question about being able to submit the jobs for people, like for a grammarian to be able to put that in for them. I have not received an answer yet, but once I do have that answer, I can show that to you guys. I did get the answer about the previous members, though, and that is up on my blog, and I also have it on Facebook if you'd like to refer to that.
Fabulous.
All right. Well, if that is the questions for the day, then I will let you guys get back to whatever you will do.
Yep, you too.
Okay.
Have a great week, Cole.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Welcome. Have a good night.
Okay. Thanks. Bye-bye.